the Furious 5 needs to be a movie. And that's just not coming from my personal opinion. This is, in terms of all of DreamWorks, the scope of it, where it's going, its future, everything about DreamWorks itself, they need to make a movie similar to that of Furious 5. They need to find a new direction for themselves. And they were on a track already, but after they sort of fell out of balance and they were going through all these buyout possibilities of all these different companies, they sort of stalled everything. Croods 2, Puss in Boots 2, all these movies got stalled, and now we're in a place where a lot of their great and more, not mature, but more just different films that were going in a different direction, and films that were their strongest were pretty much pushed away. Other than Croods, obviously. Not their strongest film, I'm just saying. But Furious 5 needs to be a movie. Because we've seen... I think Puss in Boots is one of the weird and unique takes where it not only expanded the franchise of Shrek, which was, at that point, really overdone. Like, people were tired of Shrek at that point. Of course, it made a lot of money, but, I mean, it was, like, exhausting. It was getting way too oversaturating. And Puss in Boots came out, and everyone loved it. It was the age of the cat. It was perfect for the timing. You had cat videos online, and it was just a great story. Like, somehow they made an excellent story. It was a good time in the theater. It was a good time to watch it. It was a great watch, and just an overall great movie, and showed how DreamWorks can really bend and move and fluctuate and carry these properties forward and keep them going. Same with Penguins of Madagascar. After Madagascar was sort of hitting that saturation point, they kept on pushing these IP and these characters along and giving them longer lifespans. And after that point, like, if you look at about 2014, everything stops. How to Train Your Dragon comes along, it just stops. I mean, look, Kung Fu Panda 3 came out last year. Other than that, nothing really there. I think now is the perfect time to... Because if you look at their upcoming lineup, it's not anything great. I mean, I know people are excited for Captain Underpants and all of that, but DreamWorks is best when they're working with their properties that they know very well. And we've seen that, especially in the beginning of this decade. Furious 5 is a film that can take them in a completely new direction. Now, we saw with Sausage Party the potential of an R-rated movie. I'm not saying Furious 5 should go R-rated, but I think that with Puss in Boots, where they had had very sensual points in that like this. There were areas of that were surprisingly more advanced than I would think that they would actually show. And I like that. I think that they should keep working with that tone and keep pushing that, because that would be the easiest way to push onto a Furious 5 movie. It doesn't have to be an R-rated movie, but it can still have a little bit of darker tones, and that's what people loved about Kung Fu Panda 2. That's what people loved about Puss in Boots. It was just a story that didn't have to be all friendly and fun and like, no, it didn't have to do that. The thing about all the characters in the Kung Fu Panda universe is that, or particularly, like, again, the 5 characters that we'd be talking about, is that we have the backstory. There was a short film or a short little mini thing about 20 minutes long, all about the characters. It runs down and lets you know everything about all 5 of them, from Tigress to Crane to Mantis to Monkey, and I'm missing one more, but I can't recall what I'm missing. But it tells everyone's story, does a really good job telling it, and they just need to expand those worlds and expand them. I think people will love a Tigress movie. If they made a little more darker Tigress movie, keep it going, keep the franchise moving, get people excited for these characters. I think that you could go with almost any of the characters, actually, and make it good. I don't know how you'd make a Mantis movie. I don't know how you'd make a... you could probably make a Monkey movie do pretty well. You know, Jackie Chan voices him, and he barely got any screen time. I think there would be a pretty good probability that you could make a movie out of that. I think Crane also had the potential to have a cool movie as well. I'm just very fascinated at the fact that DreamWorks is in a status right now where they're sort of stalling on all of the properties that could make them a lot more money, right? Like, they're just starting, they're sort of like in a point, especially after Universal purchased them, where they're just pushing on these franchises that are new, right? They bought the Trolls franchise, and they bought all the properties to Trolls, and now Trolls is theirs. Obviously, they're going to try and make a sequel to Trolls. They have the property of Captain Underpants. They're going to probably try to make a couple movies out of that. They have property after property after property, and they're going after them, and that's cool. But I think that their best... Well, I don't know if the sad thing is I don't know if it's gonna last anymore. I don't know how long they can keep doing this and ignore their properties. Like Shrek 4 probably will be exciting for people, but it will not be as exciting. Or 5, I'm sorry. They want to make a Shrek 5. Shrek 5 will not be as exciting to people as if it would be if it came out this year. If it came out within a couple of years of the previous movie. A Puss in Boots 2, which was excited. People were excited about Puss in Boots. They missed the window on that. Releasing it right now would have been a perfect time. But now, because it's going to be probably so distant, people will have forgotten about this property, and it will not be as relevant. Right? How to Train Your Dragon will be so far off of where 2 was, and it'll be not coming out until 2019. That yes, it'll be a mature movie. I'm glad about that. Perfect time to have a mature characters aging up. That's good. Very similar to Toy Story 3. This is going to be one of their greatest trilogies of all time. And I think that it's good for this. That's the only franchise right now that they have that really will benefit from the great time growth between 1, 2, and 3. Now, again, Penguins of Madagascar. Relevant then, definitely not relevant now. Same with Madagascar. I don't know if they can do another one and actually just keep this thing going as relevant as it would have been if they just were still pushing as hard as they were and operating at a point where, all right, we have a new movie, a new franchise, then we're going to go back to the old franchise. They had Rise of the Guardians, and they had the other movie. They had Home, and they had Kung Fu Panda 3. They had Dragons, and then they had I'm trying to think of these other movies. Just they went back and forth trying to make things work, and it's smart. It's smart to continue the franchise that you have, and then to add in new ones to see if they work. I really hope that they start to push on Furious 5. Furious 5 is just a movie that they need. It's a movie that is everything that everyone loves about DreamWorks. It's a movie that will have a diverse cast. It's a movie that will have awesome fighting. It's a movie that will be very good for animation in general. It's a movie that could have the potential to even be in the... I want to say... it's a movie that could easily be awarded in the Academy Awards. There are movies out there that we saw last year. Illumination is now the one that's getting all the praise. And I know that Universal bought DreamWorks and they bought Illumination. DreamWorks is getting bashed. Like, I don't know how this is happening, but Illumination is getting a lot more, is making a much stronger story and a much stronger case for itself going into the future with Sing and with Secret Life of Pets in the past year and Despicable Me 3 coming out this year. They're making new franchises that are becoming very popular while also working with their old franchise Despicable Me. DreamWorks isn't doing that right now, and they're making movies that aren't making as much money. I'm very curious how this will turn out, and I'm worried that DreamWorks may die. This is going to be a cartoon chat sort of conversation that we'll have next week or the week after, but I am just curious if the reason that we're not seeing these primary character movies is because of the fact that Illumination is their moneymaker. Now, I don't see why. This is just a tangent, but I don't see why they couldn't have 2 Illumination movies in 2 seasons, 2 DreamWorks movies in another 2 seasons, like winter, spring, summer, fall. Like just transition them out, and make a lot of money. That's how Disney won last year. Disney made $2.2 or $2.4 billion at the box office because they had animated movie after animated movie after animated movie. They did a really good job with it, and they had their live action movies. Universal could do the same thing, and they're not working with that right now. They're just working with Illumination, and they're working with DreamWorks doing Boss Baby, which I'm not very excited for, but hey, guys, what do you think? This is just a sort of long rant about DreamWorks, but comment below, tell me your thoughts. Thanks for watching. I'm Brian Swan, and as always, stay tuned for more.